Narcissists' capacity for remorse, regret.
Do narcissists ever genuinely regret their actions?
Standing their remorse. Have you ever agonized over whether your narcissistic ex feels genuine regret for how they treated you? It's a common hope, but remorse is complicated for them. The truth is, most can't genuinely regret their actions. They justify and rationalize their behavior. Rare occasions may trigger regret, but it's often fleeting before old patterns resume. Any regret relates to consequences, not hurting others. I spent months wondering if he felt real remorse for the pain he caused. Don't expect narcissists to regret their actions meaningfully. Focus on healing yourself instead. After my relationship with a narcissist ended, I was tormented by the question of whether he ever felt genuine remorse for everything he put me through. The emotional roller coaster left me reeling, my self-esteem decimated. I agonized over the times he insulted and belittled me, wondering if he regretted the harm he inflicted. I desperately wished for a sign he understood the damage he did, but intuitively, I knew true remorse was unlikely from him. Narcissists view relationships through a lens of personal gain, not love. They may briefly regret consequences to themselves, but rarely feel empathy for those they hurt. Taking responsibility is impossible. They'll justify their actions rather than own up. Any apology serves to rebuild their image, not make amends. In time, I accepted he'd never regret losing me as a person. My capacity for love was irrelevant to him. I had to stop dwelling on an apology that would never come, and instead, nurture my spirit and self-worth. Though scars linger, focusing inward allowed me to rediscover my strength and regain hope for the future.
Is it possible for a narcissist to feel remorse for their behavior?
The complexity of their regret. Have you ever agonized over whether your narcissistic ex could feel true remorse? It's a complicated question after emotional abuse. The truth is, rare occasions. Brief regret is possible but uncommon. It's short-lived. Any remorse fades quickly before old patterns resume. Not empathetic. They regret consequences, not harm done. I desperately wanted my ex to show real remorse for the pain she inflicted. Don't expect narcissists to demonstrate lasting regret or empathy. Focus on healing yourself. After my narcissistic relationship ended, I was haunted by whether my ex would ever feel genuine remorse for the countless ways she manipulated and belittled me. Her emotional abuse left me hollow, my confidence shattered. I ruminated endlessly on her lies, wondering if my pain ever troubled her. I wished deeply for some sign she regretted the harm she caused, but true remorse seemed unlikely from her. Narcissists view relationships as transactions, not human connections. Some may briefly regret consequences to themselves, but rarely do they feel real empathy for those they've hurt. Taking responsibility is impossible. It's easier to blame others than own their actions. Any apology serves to rebuild their image rather than make amends. Gradually, I realized I had to let go of hoping she would ever regret losing me as a person. I wanted so much to matter to her, but I never did. I had to stop waiting for an apology that would never come sincerely. Nurturing my own spirit and self-confidence was the only real path to healing. By finding my voice again, I regained hope that the future could be brighter.
How does a narcissist handle feelings of regret or guilt?
Their response to remorse. Have you ever agonized over whether your narcissist feels true regret? Their reaction to remorse is complicated. The truth is, denial. They avoid responsibility through justification. Projection. Their faults get blamed externally. Attention-seeking. Apologies serve their need for validation. I spent years wishing he'd show real regret for the harm he caused. Don't expect genuine remorse or accountability from narcissists. Focus on those who support your healing instead. After our relationship ended, I was tormented by whether my narcissistic ex ever felt real regret for everything everything he did. His emotional manipulation left me devastated, my self-worth destroyed. I agonized over his lies, wondering if he took responsibility for the damage. I desperately wished for him to own up and show remorse, but true accountability was severely lacking. Narcissists avoid genuinely apologizing at all costs. They distort facts, shift blame, elicit sympathy, anything to sidestep responsibility. For them, apologies are performances to prove their goodness, not expressions of sincere remorse. Taking accountability and making amends does not compute. Gradually, I realized I had to let go of the fantasy he would ever own up to the harm he inflicted. I wanted so much for our relationship to have profoundly mattered, but it never did to him. I had to stop seeking the remorse and care I required from my abuser and find it from those who truly valued me. Although scars linger, I emerged wiser, knowing I deserved more all along.
Can a narcissist ever truly apologize and mean it?
The authenticity behind their amends. Have you ever longed for a sincere, heartfelt apology from your narcissistic ex? It's understandable, but unlikely from them. The truth is, insincere apologies serve to rebuild their image. Conditional, given only when they want something. Blame shifting. They'll justify or minimize their actions. I desperately craved a real, empathetic apology for everything he did. A genuine amends from a narcissist is extremely rare. Seek support from those who truly care. After my relationship ended, I agonized over whether my narcissistic ex could ever sincerely apologize for everything he put me through. His constant lies and infidelity left me emotionally shattered, my self-worth decimated. I ruminated endlessly over his refusal to take responsibility, shifting blame back on me instead. I wished so deeply for an apology showing true empathy and remorse, but from him, that seemed impossible. Narcissists use apologies to manipulate, not out of sincere regret. They'll say whatever they think will help them rebuild their image, regain power, or secure validation. True remorse, empathy, and follow-through are foreign concepts to them. An amends without changed behavior means nothing. Gradually, I accepted I had to let go of ever getting the apology I needed to heal from him. I wanted so much for the relationship to have profoundly mattered, but it never really did to him as it did me. I had to stop seeking remorse and validation from my abuser and find it from people capable of real love who saw and cherished me. Although hurt resurfaces, I now have peace knowing I always mattered, even when he refused to see it.
Are there instances when a narcissist genuinely misses an individual they've left?
Understanding their nostalgia. Have you ever wondered if your narcissistic ex genuinely misses you? It's possible, but for different reasons. The truth is, when useful, they miss what you provided them. Occasional longing, brief nostalgia for the past happens. Performative. Public wistfulness may be for show. I spent years missing him and wishing he missed me too. For narcissists, missing you is often about utility, not love. Focus forward on your fulfillment. After our turbulent relationship ended, I tortured myself wondering if my narcissistic ex ever genuinely missed me. His manipulation left me devastated, my self-worth shattered. I ruminated over the sweet times between the cruelty, when things felt simple and good. I wished so deeply he might miss that too, and regret losing us. But I realized his capacity to miss me stemmed from something different than love or emotion.
Do narcissists ever seek therapy or counseling to address feelings of regret?
Their willingness to change. Have you ever wondered if your narcissistic ex would ever seek help? It's unlikely, but possible in rare cases. The truth is, resistance. They reject accountability for their actions. Insincere. Any counseling is often manipulative, not transparent, short-lived. Even with therapy, old patterns tend to resurface. I held out hope for years that he would get professional help. Don't expect a narcissist to commit to meaningful therapy or change. Focus on your own growth. After the relationship ended, I constantly wondered if my narcissistic ex would ever seek counseling to take responsibility for his actions. His emotional abuse left me broken, my self-worth decimated. I hoped therapy could be a path to accountability and empathy, that he could develop insight into his behavior. But given his refusal to acknowledge any wrongdoing, real introspective work seemed doubtful. True self-examination requires vulnerability and transparency, incredibly challenging for narcissists. They vilify therapy that confronts their distortions. Any counseling they pursue often lacks authenticity or quickly gets abandoned when discomfort arises. Real change necessitates hard self-reflection, a willingness to unpack deep wounds, rare for those avoiding accountability. In time, I realized I had to let go of the notion he would ever put in the difficult inner work required to develop empathy and self-awareness. I had to stop looking to my abuser for the healing I needed, and instead nurture my own journey of growth. Although that path has been painful, I've emerged wiser and stronger, knowing my worth was never conditional on his validation.